All right, so get ready for a deep dive into business operating systems. We've got 10 different frameworks to unpack. 10.
Wow, 10. That's a lot.
It is, right? We've got everything from EOS and OKRs to lean and agile.
Sounds like a buffet of options.
It really does. Like trying to pick a favorite ice cream flavor. But instead of a sugar rush, we're aiming for, a business breakthrough.
I like that analogy. Helps to make it feel less, I don't know, intimidating, I guess. Choosing the right system for your business, it's a big decision.
Huge. It can be super overwhelming, but that's why we're here, to break it all down.
Exactly, to guide you and help you find that perfect system or even a combination of systems that'll really work for you.
Right. Okay, so should we just jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's talk EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. What's the deal with this one?
Okay, so EOS is interesting. It's often described as like a recipe for business success.
A recipe.
Yeah, because it gives you the key ingredients and then a step-by-step process to get that, that delicious outcome, that business success.
I love that. Speaking of recipes for success, I was reading that EOS has been especially helpful for businesses that are, well, a bit chaotic.
Absolutely. It's great for bringing structure.
There's actually a case study in here about a manufacturing company that was just drowning in inefficiencies like communication breakdowns left and right.
I can imagine.
But then they implemented EOS and bam, 25% increase in productivity within a year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Right. Like they finally found their rhythm.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of a good operating system, any system really. It brings clarity, focus, and gets everyone aligned.
So it's not about some big reinvention. It's more about fine-tuning.
Yeah. It's about giving you the tools and structure you need.
Mm.
So with EOS, a lot of it is about defining core values. Those are crucial. And then setting measurable goals.
Makes sense.
And then, of course, establishing clear roles and responsibilities. Can't forget that.
Oh, that's so important. Knowing who's doing what, so everyone's on the same page, working together.
Exactly. It's like instead of everyone just running around like chickens with their heads cut off,
So worst.
you've got a clear roadmap. You know where you're going and who's driving each part of the journey.
Love it.
Now, while EOS gives you that strong foundation for structure and accountability, let's look at a system that's kind of on the other end of the spectrum, Agile.
Agile. Oh, yeah. That's the one that everyone in the tech world seems to be raving about these days.
Right. Startups, big companies, everyone's trying to be more agile.
So what's the deal with Agile? Give us the inside scoop.
So Agile is all about, I think the simplest way to put it is it's about being flexible.
Flexible.
Yeah. Embracing change and delivering value incrementally instead of, getting stuck in those rigid long-term plans.
Which, let's be honest, never really work out the way you expect them to.
Exactly. And Agile recognizes that. So instead of one massive project,
Right.
you break things down into smaller, more manageable chunks. They're called sprints.
Sprints.
Yeah.
I like it. It's all about taking it one step at a time.
Exactly. And what's cool about each sprint is that you're constantly gathering feedback and then adapting based on that feedback.
So like a constant evolution.
Exactly. It's a more responsive way of working, which makes it perfect for, say, the tech world or really any industry where things are constantly changing.
Right, where you have to be able to adapt quickly.
Exactly. Think software development, online marketing, anything like that, where you need to be able to adjust your course based on, what the market is telling you.
It's about staying ahead of the curve.
Yes.
And speaking of staying ahead of the curve, you sent over some information about OKRs.
Ah, yes. Objectives and key results.
That one seems to be all about setting ambitious goals and then really tracking your progress.
Exactly. It's about moving away from those vague goals like we want to grow
Right.
our business.
Who doesn't?
Right. But instead you get very specific. So instead of just grow, it's we want to increase market share by, let's say, 15% in the next quarter.
I like it. Measurable, specific, achievable.
Exactly. And it's all about breaking down those big, audacious goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
So it's kind of like Agile, but maybe with a laser focus on setting goals and actually measuring your progress toward them.
Yeah, you could say that. It's about having that laser focus, that clarity on where you want to go and how you're going to get there.
And are there any, big name companies that have seen amazing results using OKRs? Because I feel like I've heard of this one before.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Google is a prime example.
Really?
Yeah, they've been using OKR since the very beginning, and lots of people attribute their, crazy growth and innovation to this framework.
That's amazing. I love hearing about those real-world examples. Okay, so we've covered structure with EOS, agility with Agile, and setting those ambitious goals with OKRs. But what about a system that gives businesses a more, I guess, well-rounded view of their performance?
Ah, you're talking about the balanced scorecard.
The balanced scorecard, yes, that's the one. It's like the wise old sage of business operating systems.
I love that description. And you're right, it's about looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly.
It encourages businesses to think beyond just their financial performance, which is obviously important.
Of course, got to pay those bills.
Exactly. But it pushes you to consider other crucial aspects of your business, like how happy are your customers? Are your internal processes as efficient as they could be? And what about your employees? Are they growing?
It's about finding that sweet spot between making money, keeping customers happy, and building a thriving internal culture.
Exactly. The balanced scorecard is like having a checklist, making sure you're not just chasing profits, but actually building a sustainable and successful business in the long run.
It's like a holistic health checkup for your business.
I like that. I'm going to steal that. It really is. And make sure you're firing on all cylinders, not just the profit-generating ones.
Exactly. Because what good is a high-performing engine if the rest of the car is falling apart?
Right. And what's great is it can help you spot those blind spots before they become bigger problems.
Okay, so just to recap for everyone, we've covered 4 systems so far. EOS for structure, Agile for flexibility, OKRs for goal setting, and the balanced scorecard for that overall checkup.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But we're on a roll, so let's keep going.
Let's do it.
Okay, so moving on to a system that, well, it always makes me think of those, those super efficient factories where everything has its place. Lean management.
Yeah, I can see that.
So lean management is all about maximizing value while minimizing waste. But what exactly do we mean by waste in this context?
Right, good question. It's not just about like physical waste, although that too.
Okay.
Lean identifies 7 key types of waste, and some of them are a little less obvious, like overproduction, waiting, transportation,
Oh, I see.
extra processing, inventory, motion, and defects. So basically anything that doesn't actually add value for the customer is considered waste and, ripe for elimination.
Makes sense. So it's about finding those inefficiencies and bottlenecks,
Yeah.
streamlining those processes.
Exactly. It's about looking at every single step in your process and asking, does this add value? Does the customer care about this? And if not, how can we do it better or eliminate it altogether?
I love it. And I actually have a great example of lean management in action.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
So there's this case study in here about a hospital, of all places.
Interesting.
They implemented lean principles, and they saw a huge reduction in patient wait times.
Wow, that's huge, especially in healthcare.
I know, right? They streamlined their admission process, and bam, 40% reduction in wait times.
That's incredible. What a testament to how these principles can be applied almost anywhere.
Seriously. Okay, so we've got lean management for efficiency, but what about when it comes to, like, hardcore quality control?
Ah, you're talking about Six Sigma.
Six Sigma, right. It's
Yeah.
all about eliminating defects, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's about achieving near perfect quality, or at least as close as you can get. They use a lot of statistical analysis, which sounds intimidating, but really it's just a way to identify and then eliminate the root causes of errors.
So it's like a deep dive into data, trying to pinpoint exactly where things are going wrong.
Yes. And then figuring out how to prevent those errors from happening again.
So are there any real-world examples of this, of Six Sigma making a real difference?
Oh, tons. But one of the most famous examples is General Electric.
Oh, yeah, GE, they're huge.
Right. Back when Jack Welch was in charge, he implemented Six Sigma across the entire company, like all their different businesses.
Wow, that's a big undertaking.
It was, but it paid off. They saved billions of dollars, improved their quality, and their customers were happier.
Wow. So Six Sigma is the way to go if you're really serious about quality.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about growth, because that's something that, well, a lot of businesses struggle with.
For sure. It's easy to get overwhelmed, especially when you're growing quickly.
Exactly, and that's where the scaling up framework comes in.
Yes. Scaling up is all about, it's like building a rocket ship, but for your business. You need a powerful engine to propel you forward, but you also need a skilled pilot and a sturdy structure to make sure you don't fall apart along the way.
It's about sustainable growth. I like it.
Exactly. It's not just about growing quickly, it's about growing in a way that's healthy and sustainable for the long haul.
So what's the secret sauce? How does scaling up help companies achieve that?
Well, they focus on 4 key areas: people, strategy, execution, and cash. And one of the most important takeaways is having the right team, having those rock star employees in the right roles.
Because you can have the most amazing product or service, But if you don't have the right people,
It's not going to work.
exactly. Now, we've talked about some pretty established systems, but
Yeah.
what about for those businesses that are just starting out, still figuring things out?
The lean startup, right. That's perfect for that.
Lean startup, yes. Tell us more about that one.
So imagine, you've got a group of entrepreneurs, they're huddled in a garage somewhere, and they're just rapidly testing and iterating on their product.
Love it. It's very Silicon Valley.
Right. That's the essence of lean startup. It's all about getting your product or service in front of customers as quickly as possible, get that feedback, learn from it, and then adapt.
So instead of spending years perfecting a product that nobody might even want.
Exactly. You launch a minimum viable product and see what happens. Do people like it? Are they willing to pay for it?
Brilliant. Are there any companies that have used this successfully?
Oh, yeah, tons. Dropbox is a great example.
Dropbox, really?
Instead of building out this whole complex platform, they started with a simple explainer video. They just wanted to see if people understood the concept and if they were excited about it.
That's such a good idea.
And it worked. They got tons of signups, and that gave them the validation they needed to actually build out the product.
What a story. All right, so we've covered lean management, Six Sigma, scaling up, and the lean startup. What's next on our whirlwind tour of business operating systems?
Let's talk about traction, a system that helps businesses get a grip, take control, and really go after those big, hairy goals.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So what makes traction stand out from the crowd?
Traction is all about bringing discipline and accountability to your execution. It's not enough to have great ideas. You need a system to actually make them happen, right?
Right, it's about getting things done.
Exactly. So Traction provides this really clear framework for setting priorities, delegating effectively, and then tracking your progress like a hawk.
So it's like having that accountability partner, but for your entire business.
Yes. And it helps everyone in the organization get aligned around a shared vision and make sure everyone's moving in the right direction. No more silos, no more working at cross purposes.
Love it. It's about creating that culture of, we're all in this together, let's make it happen.
Precisely. Now, ready to explore a system that emphasizes continuous improvement.
Always. Bring it on.
All right, let's talk about Kaizen.
Kaizen. I feel like I need to be meditating on a mountaintop to fully grasp this one. It sounds very zen.
Well, it does have a certain, tranquility to it.
Right.
Kaizen is a Japanese term that means continuous improvement. And it's all about those small, consistent changes made over time to achieve those really significant results.
So it's not about making these big, sweeping changes all at once.
No, not at all. It's about creating a culture of continuous learning and adaptation within your organization.
It's like a martial art for business improvement, right? A focus on incremental progress and continuous refinement.
Yeah, you could say that. It's about discipline, focus, and constantly striving to be better.
I like it. So how does Kaizen work in practice? Give us the details.
Okay, so imagine, let's say, you're a sculptor, right? You've got this big block of marble, and you're slowly, carefully chipping away at it. Bit by bit, you're revealing this masterpiece.
Okay, I can see it. It's about the long game.
Exactly. And in a business context, those small chips, those are like the small improvements you're making every single day.
Got it. And it's not just about like one person making those improvements, right?
No, not at all. That's a key part of Kaizen. It's about creating a culture where everyone, from the CEO to the newest hire, is empowered to identify areas for improvement.
This is about building a culture of continuous learning and adaptation.
Exactly. And it can be as simple as, someone on the factory floor noticing a small inefficiency in a process.
Right. And instead of just thinking, well, that's how we've always done it.
They speak up. They say, hey, I think we can do this better. And then everyone gets together to brainstorm solutions.
I love it. It's about empowering every single person to be a change maker. Okay, so we've explored 10 different business operating systems. 10. From EOS to Kaizen, each one with a unique approach to optimization. But now for the big question, how do you actually choose which one is right for you?
Right, because it's not like picking your favorite color. This is a big decision.
It is, and it can feel super overwhelming, like where do you even begin?
I get it. It's a lot to process. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, unfortunately. What works for one business might be a disaster for another.
Right, each company is unique, like a snowflake.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate this? Are there some key questions that businesses should be asking themselves?
Absolutely. First and foremost, what are your primary goals right now? Are you all about rapid growth? Do you want to streamline your operations and boost efficiency? Or is your focus on becoming a disruptive innovator in your industry?
What's your North Star? What are you ultimately trying to achieve?
Exactly. And once you have a clear understanding of your destination, then you can start thinking about the best vehicle to get you there.
Okay, so you figured out your goals. What's next?
Well, it's also helpful to identify your pain points. What are the bottlenecks or inefficiencies that are holding you back? Different systems are better suited to address different challenges.
Right, it's about finding the right tool for the job.
Exactly. And another important consideration is your company's culture. Some of these systems require a pretty radical transformation, while others are more about making gradual, incremental changes over time.
It's about finding a system that aligns with your team's values and working style.
Exactly. If your team thrives on structure and predictability, a system like EOS, with its emphasis on clear roles and processes, might be a good fit. But if you've got a team of free spirits who love to experiment and aren't afraid to shake things up,
Maybe Agile or the lean startup methodology would be a better fit.
exactly. And here's the thing. There's no rule that says you can only choose one system.
Wait, really? Tell me more.
A lot of businesses find that the most effective approach is actually to blend elements from different systems, kind of create their own hybrid model.
So it's like creating your own secret sauce for business success.
Precisely. You get to cherry pick the best practices that resonate with you and your team and leave the rest behind. There's no need to be dogmatic about it.
I love that. This has been such a fascinating deep dive. We've covered so much ground, but honestly, we've just scratched the surface here.
We have. There's so much more to explore.
Exactly. But the important thing is to start somewhere. Pick a system, any system, and start experimenting. See what works, what doesn't, and don't be afraid to adjust your approach along the way.
And remember, the journey of business optimization is never truly over. There's always room for improvement, always something new to learn.
That's so true. So to our amazing listeners, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep striving to build the best businesses you can. Until next time.